Okay, so it should be live now. Hello, James. We've just been chatting briefly here, getting it started. I'm just going to paste this over into the Facebook group to let people know we're on. But while I'm doing that, would you please give us a quick introduction into who you are, where you're from, and what is it that you do?
Okay, sure. I was originally born in San Diego, California. I grew up mostly in Charlotte, North Carolina, also around Virginia. And after high school, I joined the Navy, and then I was in Iraq and all this type of stuff. But anyways, after that, I studied international business in Madrid, and that was actually when I left the States. And that was over 10 years ago. And since then, I have just been, well, let me also just say that before I left, when I was in the States, I did some, rental real estate investments and things like that. And I got to witness and be part of the 2008 housing crash when I was young. And so that kind of, gave me some experience into markets and cyclical markets. And that was a big lesson for me. And so when I left, since then, I graduated. I have done all kinds of different things, and a lot to do with real estate, rental real estate. I managed a boutique hotel in Acapulco, and since then, I'm in San Miguel de Allende, which a lot of people don't know about, but it's actually a pretty big tourist town, and I have some vacation rental property here. And so that's one of the things that I do. I think that real estate is a great passive way to, or semi-passive at least, way to make money if you know what you're doing. And I think that a lot of the technology that we have now allows for vacation rental real estate a lot easier than it used to be, and you can get a much higher return on your investment than you would long-term rentals.
Cool. And so you've done quite a bit of traveling, and I know that from watching a couple of your videos in the past that you do rental properties on Airbnb. Is that what got you into Airbnb? Is that what got you started with it? Was from traveling and using?
I've been a fan of Airbnb for a long time, and I've used it. I use it as a traveler almost exclusively, and as a host in all different kind of aspects. I've had a house that I have an extra room, then I'll rent that out. And what I've been doing now is renting long term, and then with the owner's permission, I let them know that I'm going to be subleasing it. And so I rent long term. I fix them up into really nice, vacation rental type properties, and then I'll turn around and rent them on Airbnb. Now, I will say that it's not just Airbnb. There's lots of different online, booking systems and things like that. I do get a lot of traffic. I think a lot of people have been getting a lot of success with Airbnb. But you also, when doing this, you don't want to neglect other channels, and also just getting them yourself and keeping your customers in different ways, and also finding different streams of income through the clients that come in, not just renting, but offering them other services and stuff and affiliates in the area.
Cool.
So yeah, Airbnb
cool.
I would say definitely the main thing, but it's a wider thing into vacation rentals.
Cool. And just to take me back to where you started with this, how long ago was it when you first kind of came across this opportunity and started, doing the long-term leases on property, and then going on to do short lease to lease them out on a short-term basis? When did you start with this business?
Yeah, so that specific strategy, only about a year,
Cool.
But I've been using Airbnb in different types of, aspects of my own places. I've rented places and then rented out the rooms before.
Yeah. Cool. Just wondering, has it just froze?
Hotel, right? Oh, did it freeze?
No, just for a moment. It's back now. Cool.
Okay. Yeah, but just as far as renting out the whole place, long term, and then turning around and renting out the entire place, it's been like around a year actually now.
Cool. Cool. And what, we'll just go back to the start because I missed a bit of the start when I was setting it all up. But just before that, just if you could give us a brief kind of what you were doing, where you came across this opportunity, what it was that brought you to this, what were you doing at the time when you just started this?
Yeah. Well, I'm always into a lot of different things. I've worked in real estate in this city for a while. I was working for Coldwell Banker as an agent. I work with different businesses, a lot of online stuff. Just it's hard for me to tell you everything, but I've had my podcast for a while. I have a podcast and a blog and a YouTube channel.
Cool.
So all that kind of stuff. I also help companies with their websites. So I have some regular clients that I do like updating. I do help them with photography and things like that.
Cool. And for someone who's looking to get started into this type of business, who's looking to start with Airbnb, and as you say, getting long-term leases and doing short leases on them, where first of all, what locations are the best locations to start in, and what could they do to kind of get started with this business model?
Yeah. Where are the majority of your listeners?
The UK. So I'm solely based in the UK. I'm from Ireland originally, so I travelled back and over quite a bit. But yeah, a lot of the people that will listen to my channel are based in the UK.
Okay. Well, it's my understanding. I don't know the details about it in the UK, but it's my understanding that there's a bit of problem with bureaucracy there in the UK as far as doing Airbnb. So
okay.
I think that I don't know exactly the details again, but
there are
large companies that are making a lot of money using it. So
but just for the subletting side, is there certain countries that are better than others? Or that is more suitable off the business model?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say is one of the first things, is just taking a look at the regulatory environment in wherever you're thinking about. There are many countries, even throughout Latin America. Like right now, I'm in Mexico, but I know that, for instance, I know somebody that is doing something similar in Colombia, and it's a lot harder for them. They have to do a lot more paperwork and all that type of stuff. Here, it's really not a big deal. And although sometimes some of the governments, different cities do try to, so people and shut them down or whatever. But, that's definitely something you have to consider, the tax aspect of it. And, you don't want them to come shut your business down, but that's probably, I would say, the number one thing you want to think about. And,
no, I was just going to ask you, is it possible to run this type of business in the US?
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of people doing it in the US. Sure.
Okay.
Again, even that, the states and the cities are different as far as their relationship to people doing this type of business. So even within the U.S. and different places, you need to look at. I would say when you're considering an area, first look at that at the regulatory environment.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And is there? Yeah. Is there certain states that you would recommend that someone was to look at that are more suitable than other states?
No, there's 50. There's 50 different states, and all different types of cities within those states that have different things. So you have to go on a case by case thing.
But is there any recommendations that you could give to someone who's just getting started, where to start looking for properties? Places maybe that you've done this in the past that is allowed, or is there any certain no-go states that this just isn't allowed? You've said the UK, you're not quite sure on the laws here, but is there any states or countries that for certain that this is kind of a viable business to set up?
Yeah, sure. there are people doing it in a lot of places all over the world. I would say start out at a place that you enjoy or where you are, somewhere that you know.
Yeah.
It is possible to do it remotely, but to get started, you're definitely going to have to know the area, know people in the area, spend some time there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you have to just start with places that you like to be or that you are spending a lot of time in.
Okay. Cool. And yeah, and then when it comes to the laws around it, is there any certain states that subletting is just not allowed in?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Because I know, yeah, again, just going back to the case or what you were speaking about in the UK, I'm not 100% sure on the laws here in the UK around that, but I know that they can be pretty strict on subletting, and that you would need a contract with the letting agency, which will allow you, to sublease it on to someone else. Is that the case with the sublets that you do?
I'm sorry, what was
Do you need to have a contract with the leasing company that you do a long-term lease with? Do you need to have a contract
I
with
don't
them which will allow you to sublet the property on?
I don't lease from any leasing companies. I lease directly from the owners.
You lease directly from the owners,
Yeah.
okay, and sublease the properties on Airbnb.
Right.
Cool. And when it goes, just to go back onto other platforms that you can lease these properties out on, what other platforms is there to do this?
VRBO, HomeAway, TripAdvisor, Expedia, Hotels.com. You can also just set up your own website and have people book through your own website. There are all kinds of things called channel managers that are available now that
Cool.
that will sync all your calendars up and put you out on all the different platforms.
Okay, cool. And so as growing this business model, what is your main role? It's mainly getting clients online for, for the properties and managing the properties. Is that mainly what you do, or what is your main role in, running this business day to day?
Well, I mean, as you know, as entrepreneurs, we have to do everything. We have to hire people. We have to start it. We have to come up with the idea. We have to provide leadership. We have to come up with capital, handle the books and everything else. I mean, everything that goes along with, being an entrepreneur.
And when you're looking for these deals, where do you pick them up? Where do you come across these properties that are suitable for this business model?
I have the way that I see it is, you want to get as low of a long-term rental as you can, obviously, and so you get that not from any of the big agents that are offering that type of thing, or brokers. What you want to do is you want to find individual owners, and if you're in a different country, obviously you need to get to know some of the locals, maybe find some look at signs, and that people just put up signs on their house, Craigslist, Facebook groups or WhatsApp groups. You got to do that. You got to just go around and find people that usually aren't so tech savvy. Maybe they don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're running across hard times, and maybe nobody else can get in touch with them or something. And that's how you're going to get good deals, because that's really going to be one of the keys to the business is making sure that you're not paying a ton for the long term. You don't have this huge nut just to pay the rent each month.
Yeah, exactly. And how do you present yourself when you will say come across a property that you like on Craigslist, or however you come across it? How do you present yourself to the owner? Is it as a management company managing it on their behalf, or what is your pitch when you come across a property that you would like to do this with?
Yeah, well, I have this business that I do. The way that I look at it is the owners are worried about risk, right? They're worried about people coming in and messing up their house. And things like that. So you got to take that risk out of the equation and instead replace it with, the opposite of that. That look, I get this place. It's going to be cleaned, once, twice, three times a week. It's going to be professionally managed. I'm going to make sure that, if anything happens, I'm going to pay for it. We do all the inventory. We look over the whole house, like, again, several times a week, and we have insurance, and I have several other people that I can, recommend you to if you want a recommendation that we're doing this with. And so it's actually, you got to make it look like it's not only you take out the risk, but it's actually less of a risk than trying to find a long-term renter that is going to stay there and is not going to trash the place and stuff. It's like
you're taking the responsibility off the owner's hand, so to speak.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. And do you just on that point, do you have to pay a large deposit when you're getting these long-term leases?
Yeah, so all these individual things like that, it's all into the negotiation, right? So it's customary that you put down a deposit for sure 1 month. Some people ask for 2 months. It depends on what you can negotiate. So you want to try to get the lowest monthly rate. A lot of times when they hear you're subleasing, a lot of people will want more money. Okay. So that's up to you. Maybe they want more money. Maybe they want 2 months deposit. And another thing is that when you're doing it, you're putting money into this. So I don't think that it's realistic if you want to do it right, that you're just going to rent a place that's furnished and just start renting it out on, to do it professionally. You want to, in my mind, especially if you want to get a low monthly thing, what I do is I furnish them and everything, right? Okay. So you want to make it, have a smart TV that people can watch, that have, cell phone chargers and have, dispensers for shampoo and all this, and have, set it up like a hotel. And so it's going to take some money up front to set up. So the reason I'm mentioning that is because of that, and because it takes a little bit of time to get going in the beginning, you want something longer than 1 year. You don't want to keep negotiating every year. Okay. So, you want 2, 3, 4. I know a guy that does 5-year leases. He only does 5-year leases with the same model in Spain. Okay. And so, these are all part of the negotiation. Say, look, I want to sign a 5-year lease, and I'll put down 2 months, 2 months deposit, or whatever they're open to. It just depends on the person you're talking to.
And just on that, then would you pay your rent to the property owner every month, and you'll pay your deposit obviously up front, and then you'll get your rent, for your short-term lets whenever they start and finish their short-term let?
Right.
Cool. And how long do usually short-term lets go for? I know they can vary, that you can probably have someone stay for a night, but what is the average kind of stay that you get with short-term lets?
The average time or days that they say?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm mostly getting 1 to 4 or 5 days.
What? Okay. And then, do you find it hard to fill up the spaces? Would you have a lot of time where the property isn't let out?
Right. So that's the thing that a lot of people, don't understand, that haven't worked in the vacation rental, is, like the occupancy rate is what will make or break you. There's a lot of people that are happy because they get, I got a rental for a weekend or something. But no, you want to get 60, 70, 80, 90. I get, I get over 90% occupancy, right? Oh. You want, that's how you're losing money unless it's filled up, right? So now a lot of people think that they need to lower the price in order to do that, and that is one strategy. The problem is that with Airbnb, there's a lot of people entering the market, and they're all fighting over price. So they're always want to lower the cost. That's good as a traveler, but as a host, you might want to think about other strategies like, how can you improve your listing? How can you get your listing on other sites so that you can, improve demand rather than, bringing down the price. So, you definitely want to get as high occupancy as you can. It's going to make a huge difference. I know a lot of some in the past. I've known some that will sell vacation rentals and say that they handle them and they will say, oh, you're going to get this much cash flow each month, and you'll also get to stay there for a month each year or whatever. But the occupancy was very unrealistic than what they were actually getting. So that completely changed the nature of the investment. So actually they were buying a losing investment when they thought they were buying investment where they were getting cash flow each month. And the only number that was different was the occupancy rate. So that's a big thing. If you're already buying one, that's, people can buy property that's already a vacation rental. You definitely want to look at the past, and make sure that it's not fudged numbers and see what type of occupancy is.
And how would you go about checking that out or researching that?
You can go on to things like Airbnb and you can see other rentals in the area and see, and you can see how much they're rented out and what cost and all that type of stuff. So.
Okay, and you're able to see how long they've been rented out for on Airbnb itself, are you? Or
yeah,
the time period, we'll say. Were you able to see, how what the occupancy rate is? Is there a way of finding this out on Airbnb?
Yeah, just look at other people's calendars. You can see that they're renting out.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, no, I'm totally new to this, so that's why I'm asking these very basic questions. I haven't even used Airbnb as a guest or a host yet, so I'm very new to it.
Well, you got to make sure to use my code when you do, because you'll get $40 for free.
Okay, cool. Maybe if you send me that code after, and I'll put it down in the description, so anyone who is signing up can use your code. And definitely, if I do, whenever I do go and use an Airbnb, I will use it. And there is you
can just go ahead and sign up. You can sign up now, and then whenever and just create a profile, and then whenever you do use it, you'll automatically get the 40. Even if it's like a year from now, it doesn't matter.
Cool, great, thank you. And with that, just back to it, you can click in on a listing, check the calendar, and just see what dates are available, and that'll tell you the occupancy of this property.
Yeah, and you can look around in the area that you're thinking about doing it. You can look at other places, see how much they're charging, see how much they're rented out. They also have platforms like one is called Airbnb DNA or something like that, and they have other things that you can actually. They have several different online things that they look at the market and they aggregate all the data and they can tell you what to expect.
Okay, cool. And what's that site? AirBnB?
Well, there's several of them. Let me see. Yeah, I just got an email. Maybe I erased it.
Yeah, cool, because that sounds like a really helpful site to check out when you're going ahead researching properties. Because as I was explaining to you beforehand, what I do with Amazon is find the products that are already selling well and then create my own unique versions of these products. And that's kind of pretty similar if you're looking into to do what you do, which is subletting properties on Airbnb. So you're looking for properties that are already renting well, or areas that are already, renting well, by looking at the high occupancy rate, and then finding properties in this area and making the changes which you said, making them good quality properties by putting in furniture and things like smart TVs and things like that will attract customers to rent them. Am I on the right track with that?
Yeah, and just being, there are bills that go along. You'll learn as you go along. In vacation rentals. I mean, it's not. I guess a lot of people. A lot of people, honestly, a lot of people do have success without knowing what they're doing.
Yeah.
But you'll do better if you, spend some time, join some groups. There's one group that I just found that seems to be very helpful. It's called Short-Term Rental University.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not affiliated with that at all, but I ran.
Cool, and that's a group on Facebook, is that?
Good advice on there. Groups or some paid forum. I'm also on a paid a forum, and it has a lot of information, because the thing is, this market is changing so much, and that's why I mentioned the AirDNA. But there's a lot of different tools. Every time I turn around, there's another website to help people with this and that, and they have all these different channel managers and PMSs, and they're always changing, and there's always a new one. So it's rapidly changing industry. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah,
but
and that's the same with everything online. Things move so fast,
right.
and yeah, I'm the same way. I find groups so valuable for just keeping up to date.
Right. So having to figure out how to handle people correctly, how to do customer service, how to what to do when somebody messes up your house. What are the things that people like, how to tell them correctly to get to the house, so that, how to scale it, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to have 10 houses and you're the only, you're responding to everybody, on a Friday, you got 10 people coming in and you're, answering. You don't want to be doing that, right? So
yeah,
you have to figure out how to do automatic messaging or hire people to help you and stuff like that.
Cool. And just out of interest on this one, what type of money would you need to start with, and what type of money is there to be made with this type of business model?
I would say that you probably, depending on there's so many things you can do with Airbnb, but if we're just talking about renting and then and then subleasing, I would say that when you're getting an unfurnished place, that you're probably going to end up, if it's like a 1 or 2 bedroom place, then you're probably going to end up spending from $5,000 to $10,000 to get it set up.
Okay.
And it really varies greatly where the location is with how much money you're going to make. Okay. You could rent a place in San Diego and be charging $200, $300, $400 a night, right? And then you could be like somewhere here in Mexico and be charging $40 a night, right? So it's so it really.
What type of, let's say, percentage returns would you be looking at? What type of return over the space of a year? Taking into account occupancy rate and different things. What type of return can you make on your money?
Yeah, it's just so it's such a relative thing, because it matters, where you are, what type of place you have, what type of occupancy, what type of work you're doing as far as marketing it. But I get usually, within like a 7 month break even, I'm already paid back. So
okay, and then you have 5 months to make your profit.
All right.
Cool.
No, everything after that. What I mean is like 7 month break even on all that, and it's not like it's sunk cost, because all of the furniture and everything is mine, so that's all capital that stays.
Yeah. And that's, after 7 months, you're saying you'll have the whole lot paid off, whatever you've put into the property, and right, you'll have, 5 months. The next 5 months, we'll say, is your profit.
And forever, and the next year, and the next year after that, the next. Okay,
cool. So so it seems there's so many opportunities out there, and that's why I got you on this call to just briefly run through it and give people a taste for what it is that you do, and just I'm very grateful for having you on, and thank you for coming on. If you had one tip to share with the people listening for what they could do to start this type of business if they were looking to get started, what would that tip be?
Probably if you're interested in it, learn more about it and just do it and start, get in it and get in the groups and figure out how to do it and just go for it. You know, there's a lot of people doing it nowadays. A lot of people making a lot of money.
Cool.
So it's definitely possible. And you know, it is a new kind of industry. So sure, there are going to be drawbacks, and there are going to be people that say, "Oh, you can't do that," and you know, whatever. But whatever, you know, there are some areas that sometimes are a bit in the gray area, right? But
Okay.
you know, these is changing markets, and we got to figure it out, and that's how we're going to do it. And so, you know, if you want to make money doing it, then sometimes you gotta just go out there. So yeah, thanks for having me on the call. If people are interested, they can go to borderlessblog.com. That's my blog.
Cool.
And I also have a podcast and YouTube, and all that stuff is there. And talk about this and a lot of other ways that people can make money in the gig economy and the information age, and you know, and how to live where you want and that survive nowadays. So that's it. But I will send you that link, and if anybody's interested, they can get $40 off.
Send me over the links to that and the link to your blog, and I'll put them all in the description. So anyone who wants more information about this type of business model, you can check out James's stuff in the description below, and check out his YouTube channel and that, because he has a lot of videos on this already there. So thanks a million, James, for coming on, and cool. I look forward to speaking to you again in the future.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Bye.